Hello and welcome to Express News. I'm Gautam Roy. Let's begin from the top. Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends the 12th BRICS Summit hosted by Russia under the theme Global Stability, Shared Security and Innovative Growth. The meeting was held in a virtual format. Speaking at the BRICS Summit, Prime Minister Modi said terrorism is the biggest problem facing the world today and we have to ensure that the countries that support terrorists are held accountable and this problem is tackled in an organized manner. Speaking about economic recovery after COVID-19, Prime Minister Modi said recovery post-COVID will see a huge role being played by BRICS nations. He said a big reform process has been started in India under Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. This could be a significant force multiplier post-COVID. The Prime Minister batted for reforms within international organizations such as UN and IMF. He said India believes that reform in UN Security Council is very important and we seek support from BRICS in this regard. The second phase of exercise Malabar 2020 began today in the North Arabian Sea. This phase involves coordinated cooperation between the navies of Australia, India, Japan as well as the US. Phase 2 is going to witness joint operations centered around the Vikramaditya Carrier Battle Group of the Indian Navy and Nimitz Carrier Strike Group of the US Navy. The two carriers, along with other ships, submarines and aircraft of the participating navies, will be engaged in high-intensity naval operations over 4 days. Home Minister Amit Shah hit out at the Congress today and the Gupkar alliance, alleging that they want to take Jammu and Kashmir back to the era of terror and turmoil. He said they want to take away rights of Dalits, women and tribals that the centre has ensured by removing Article 370. In a series of tweets, Amit Shah said the Gupkar gang is going global and they want foreign forces to intervene in Jammu and Kashmir. He accused the Gupkar alliance of insulting India's tricolour. The Home Minister asked senior Congress leaders Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi to make their stand clear whether they support such moves of the Gupkar gang. Law Minister and senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad asked Congress Party to clarify its stand on the names of their leaders that have come up in the Augusta Westland BVIP chopper scam. The Law Committee of the Goods and Services Tax, that's the GST Council, is set to meet on the 18th of November, that's tomorrow, to discuss increasing invoice frauds, tightening of the registration process and amendments in the GST law. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar chaired the first meeting of the newly constituted State Cabinet today. All the other 14 members of the Council of Ministers were present in the Cabinet meeting held at the Chief Minister's Secretariat in Patna. The Bihar Cabinet decided to convene the first session of the newly elected 17th State Legislative Assembly from the 23rd of this month. The session will conclude on the 27th of this month. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached around 93.42%. During the last 24 hours, more than 40,000 COVID patients have recovered. The Health Ministry said the actual caseload currently comprises only 5.11% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 4,53,000. India's case fatality rate is at 1.47%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 449 deaths have been reported, taking the toll to 1,30,519. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 8,44,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far have reached 12 crore 65 lakh. Special Cell of Delhi Police foiled a major terror attack in the national capital. Police arrested 2 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists. Both the terrorists are natives of Jammu and Kashmir. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal today said that the government has taken the decision to reduce the number of people in wedding ceremonies to deal with the rising cases of COVID-19 in the city. Now only 50 persons will be allowed to attend any wedding ceremony. Colleges have reopened in Karnataka after COVID-19 induced closure for 8 long months. Colleges are following the state government's standard operating procedures and taking all necessary measures to curb the spread of the virus on their premises. Bulls continued to maintain their firm grip on Tuesday. The S&P BSE Sensex ended the day at 43,953, up 315 points or 0.72%, while Nifty settled at 12,874, up 94 points or 0.74%. Gold prices in India registered a sharp fall last week. On MCX, December gold rose 0.05% to 50,856 rupees per 10 grams. Gold prices had edged about 0.2% lower in previous day's truncated session. Meanwhile, silver futures were steady at 63,700 rupees per kg. Silver fell 0.1% to $24.74 per ounce. The rupee appreciated by 24 paise to 74 rupees 38 paise against the US dollar in opening trade on Tuesday, tracking positive domestic equities amid improved risk appetite. Oil prices jumped more than 4%, recouping the previous session's losses after Moderna said its experimental vaccine was 94.5% effective in preventing COVID-19. Brent crude futures for January was up $1.79 or 4.2% to $44.57 a barrel. Oil marketing companies kept the prices of petrol and diesel unchanged on Tuesday domestically. There's been no change in petrol prices across the metros for more than 7 weeks, whereas diesel prices haven't been revised for nearly 1.5 months. In Delhi, the price of petrol remained at 81 rupees 6 paise per litre and diesel was at 70 rupees 46 paise per litre. The Law Committee of the Goods and Services Tax Council is set to meet on the 18th of November to discuss increasing invoice frauds, tightening of the registration process and amendments in the GST law. It will also deliberate upon steps required to plug loopholes in the laws. Tesla Inc. is set to join the S&P 500 in December, a major win for Chief Executive Elon Musk that boosted the electric car maker's shares 14% in anticipation of a $51 billion trade by index funds adjusting their holdings. With a stock market value of over $400 billion, Tesla will be among the most valuable companies. DoorDash, the US food delivery startup backed by SoftBank Group, made public its regulatory filing for a listing on New York Stock Exchange. The move follows a surge in demand for food delivery services during the COVID-19 lockdowns earlier this year. The S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial Average notched record closing highs on Monday as news of another promising coronavirus vaccine fanned hopes. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 470.63 points, the S&P 500 gained 41.76 points, and the Nasdaq Composite added 94.84 points. Coronavirus has so far infected more than 5.54 lakh people. Over 3.86 lakh people have recovered, while the virus has claimed 13,34,000 lives worldwide. The United States continues to remain atop in terms of COVID-19 infections. The country till now has recorded more than 2,52,000 fatalities. Brazil also continues to remain worst affected from COVID-19, with the number of cases passing 58 lakh, while it trails behind the US in terms of the death toll. The second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic seems to be easing its grip on some European countries following rigid restrictions and social distancing measures rolled out to flatten the curve. France counted a cumulative total of about 19.91 lakh COVID-19 infections after 9,406 new cases were confirmed, marking the minimum daily growth since October, indicating that France has overcome the pandemic peak. In Italy, the daily count of coronavirus infections also fell on Monday with 27,354 new coronavirus cases. Russia has reported more than 19,48,000 cases of the infection, with more than 33,400 deaths so far. US biotech firm Moderna on Monday announced its experimental vaccine against COVID-19, which was 94.5% effective in preventing COVID-19 based on interim data from a late-stage clinical trial, becoming the second US company in a week to report results that far exceed expectations. Meanwhile, the European Union Health Commissioner Stella Kyriakides has said that the European Union is in talks with Moderna to secure doses of COVID-19 vaccine, but negotiations had not been wrapped up. Britain is expecting to start rolling out the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine just before Christmas if it is declared safe and effective. Britain's Health Minister Matt Hancock said that the government was working very closely with the American pharmaceutical firm and would be ready to start the vaccine rollout from the 1st of December. Amidst political turmoil, Peru's Congress has elected legislator Francisco Sagasti as the country's interim president. Sagasti, a leader of centrist Morado party, won enough votes to lead the board of directors of Peru's unicameral Congress. Now, this means that he would also constitutionally assume the presidency of the country ahead of national elections. Peru's interim president Manuel Merino stepped down earlier after the ouster of his predecessor Martin Vizcarra, dragging the country into constitutional crisis. In Armenia, thousands of people marched through the capital demanding Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan to resign. The outrage came over a ceasefire that secured territorial advances for Azerbaijan in Nagorno-Karabakh after 6 weeks of fighting. The ceasefire signed by leaders of Armenia, Azerbaijan and Russia halting military action in and around Nagorno-Karabakh region has ended worst fighting in the region and has been seen as Azerbaijan's victory. The fighting over Nagorno-Karabakh resumed in September this year. The presidents of Honduras and Guatemala have asked rich nations to help out as powerful Hurricane Lota has rolled towards their countries. Category 5 Hurricane Lota has made landfall in Nicaragua. Lota was due to collide with northeastern Nicaragua, which has barely recovered from Hurricane Eta. The unprecedented 2020 hurricane season comes as Central America is facing an economic crisis linked to the coronavirus pandemic, with experts warning the compounding hardship could worsen infections, spread hunger and fuel a new round of migration from the region. Thai riot police fired a water cannon at protesters who tried to cut their way through razor wire barricades outside Parliament on Tuesday as lawmakers discussed possible changes to the constitution. Protesters are demanding changes to the constitution drawn up by Thailand's former junta. They also want the removal of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, a former army ruler, and reforms to curb the powers of the monarchy. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un ordered a tightening of state emergency anti-coronavirus systems in the face of the worldwide pandemic as he presided over a meeting of the Politburo of the ruling Workers' Party. Making his first public appearance in 25 days, Kim stressed the need to keep a high alert and intensify efforts in anti-epidemic work. North Korea had tested over 12,000 people and reported no confirmed cases of the coronavirus as early November. Sports now, and New Zealand cricket has announced the T20 and Test squads for the upcoming series against West Indies. Kane Williamson and Trent Boult will skip New Zealand's 2020 series against West Indies to ensure they are raring to go for next month's Test series against the Caribbean Islanders. The Black Caps have added an exciting element to the 13-man T20 squad in the form of South African-born debutant Devon Conway, the standout domestic batsman in recent seasons. Kyle Jameson, who has been in outstanding Plunket Shield form this season, has also earned his first T20I call-up. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, that's BCCI, today announced that MPL Sports will now be the new kit sponsor and official merchandise partner for the Indian cricket team. BCCI signed a 3-year agreement with MPL Sports that starts from November 2020 and goes on to December 2023. MPL Sports' association with BCCI begins with the upcoming India Tour of Australia 2020-21, which will see Team India sporting new jerseys. England will not tour Pakistan for a limited overs series in January after the plans were abandoned on the grounds of cost and availability. The Sports Ministry has sanctioned 10 lakh rupees towards the treatment of hockey Olympian Mohinder Pal Singh, who is suffering from a chronic kidney ailment and is currently on dialysis. Spain and Germany will lock horns in Sevilla tonight with a spot in the semi-finals of the 2020-21 UEFA Nations League up for grabs. In Group A4, Germany are currently a point ahead of Spain at the top of the pile, with Ukraine 3 points behind the Mannschaft. German coach Joachim Löw sees their UEFA Nations League match against Spain in Sevilla as a great challenge. Croatia will be desperate to stave off relegation to League B in the Nations League when they face off against Portugal in their final group game tonight. Meanwhile, Portugal have little to play for after their hopes of finishing top of League A Group 3 were dashed by France on matchday 5. With some stalwarts from the 2018 World Cup squad hanging up their international boots and others in the line and winter stage of their national careers, Croatia have endured a patchy Nations League campaign. Switzerland hosts Ukraine tonight in the UEFA Nations League, with both sides looking to avoid relegation from League A Group 4. France are set to host Sweden at the Stade de France tonight in their final UEFA Nations League group stage game. Argentina's final World Cup qualifying match of the year is expected to be played as scheduled in Lima on Tuesday. Brazil will travel to Uruguay for a FIFA World Cup qualifier in Montevideo on Tuesday. Brazil have made a strong start to their qualification campaign, winning the 3 games they have played so far against Bolivia, Peru and Venezuela. Neymar continues to be a doubtful for Brazil after missing the last match against Venezuela. Paraguay play host to Bolivia in the World Cup qualifier to extend their unbeaten start to 4 matches. Meanwhile, Bolivia head into their fixture on the back of 3 successive defeats. Venezuela are set to play host to Chile at the Estadio Olimpico in their FIFA World Cup qualifying fixture. Venezuela come into this game on the back of a 1-0 loss to Brazil. Jordan Henderson and Raheem Sterling will miss England's Nations League match against Iceland at Wembley on Wednesday because of injury. Uruguay national team's forward Luis Suarez has tested positive for COVID-19 along with standing goalkeeper Rodrigo Munoz, plus a staff member. Suarez will miss their World Cup qualifier against Brazil. He will also miss his club Atletico Madrid's La Liga outing versus Barcelona. In tennis, top-seeded Novak Djokovic started his bid for a record-equaling 6th ATP Finals title with a classy win over Argentine debutant Diego Schwartzman. The 33-year-old Serb, who has not won the event since 2015, eased to a 6-3, 6-1 victory at the O2 Arena in London. Djokovic says he hopes the Australian Open goes ahead for the sake of tennis, admitting the sport faces a challenging time as it gears up for the 2021 season. Russian 4th seed Daniil Medvedev earned his first ATP Finals match win by beating German 5th seed Alexander Zverev. Medvedev lost all his group matches in 2019 but began with a 6-3, 6-4 win. The season-ending event is being played behind closed doors because of the coronavirus pandemic. In F1 racing, Pirelli boss Mario Isola has tested positive for COVID-19. A statement from F1 said the Italian had his positive test at the Turkish Grand Prix and was now isolating. Dutch students have created a fully functioning electric car made entirely out of waste, including plastics fished out of sea, recycled PET bottles and household garbage. The bright yellow sporty 2-seater named Luca can reach a top speed of 90 km/h. New York's Queens residents lined up in front of a boarded-up GameStop store in Manhattan's Union Square about an hour before its opening to pick up Sony's PlayStation 5. It's been 7 years since Sony released a new PlayStation, and that has made launch sales online only to maintain social distancing. Russian student Alexei Dudladov has been forced to go to great lengths, or rather great heights, to attend classes online, having to climb a birch tree in his remote Siberian village every time he needs an internet connection. The 21-year-old popular blogger and student in his plea, he tells the regional governor that his home internet is not strong enough to connect to his online classes and that he is being forced to come up with a creative solution. Now, one of the most popular attractions for tourists in Greece who flock to watch them conduct the changing of the guard in front of Parliament, Greece's traditional presidential guards, known as Evzones, have started donning masks as the country faces a second wave of the coronavirus. It's considered a special privilege to be an Evzone. Australia's Qantas Airways Limited, the world's 3rd oldest airline, marked its 100th birthday with a low-level flyover of Sydney's famous harbour at sunset. The 100-minute flight flew 100 employees as well as some frequent flyers, which had a birthday candle projected onto one of its pylons. Egypt showcased more than 100 coffins dating back 2,500 years, the latest and largest find this year in the vast burial ground of the Saqqara necropolis. The 26th dynasty coffins are sealed, finely painted and well preserved, suggesting they belong to higher-ranking families. New York City received a much-needed boost as workers put up a giant Christmas tree that marks the unofficial start of the 2020 holiday season. Workers carefully took the 75-foot-tall Norway spruce off the flatbed and set it up in stands in Rockefeller Plaza hours after it arrived from Oneonta, New York. Residents in the northern Spanish city of Palencia were shaking their heads in disappointment over a botched restoration project that turned a sculpture out of a shepherdess into a potato head. A silk shoe that once belonged to Marie Antoinette, the last Queen of France, who was guillotined as part of the French Revolution, was auctioned in Marseille this weekend with an estimated starting price of €10,000. Auction house Ocenat held the sale of the shoe. Taylor Swift has said that her master recordings have been sold off to a private equity company, denying her the chance to buy back the tapes herself and resume control over the rights of her first 6 albums. She said that this was the second time her music has been sold without her knowledge. Swift's comments have followed a long-running feud with her former record company, Big Machine Group, and with music executive Scooter Braun over the rights to some of her biggest hits, including Shake It Off and You Belong to Me. Musician John Legend led the charge of the drive-in premiere of holiday film Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey. Legend produced the film and helped with the score as a musician. The film stars Forest Whitaker and Keegan-Michael Key and has received glowing reviews across the board. Critics have said the film could be an instant classic that captures the spirit of Christmas. The film follows an eccentric toy maker who creates a toy that changes his and his granddaughter's lives forever. Star Wars broke the mold when it was released in 1977. Its success led to the creation of a franchise which has made billions of dollars around the world. But a 1978 spin-off Star Wars Holiday Special nearly derailed it. In recent years, bootleg copies have begun to resurface on YouTube. And to make amends, Lucasfilms has teamed up with LEGO to create a new holiday special titled the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. It pokes fun at the original while carrying on the story of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. The film is premiering on Disney+. The second story of Philip Pullman's popular fantasy trilogy, his Dark Materials, hits TV screens around the world. The HBO-BBC co-production is the most expensive production the BBC has ever produced. In the story, Lara is being pursued by the Magisterium and her mother, Mrs. Coulter, tries to stop her from fulfilling her destiny. Lara and Will must discover the mystery of dust while passing through different realities. Lil Nas X released festive single Holiday with a Back to the Future themed trailer for the new track, also featuring Michael J. Fox. In the new music video, the US rapper takes on various forms, from modern-day silver-clad Santa Claus overseeing production at the North Pole to a dancing elf and a toy. That's the latest video from Billie Eilish to wrap up this edition of News Express. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to all the latest right here on DD India.